everyone. Thank you for joining us today. This is Scott Jorgens from Endeavour Solutions. Today's presentation is going to be on Expandit for field service and the support for Microsoft Dynamics NAV, Business Central, and Dynamics GP.
So my name is Gary Rodriguez. I'm a consultant with a focus on mobile field service software solutions. And today I've got Luke Canan with me as well, who'll be speaking in a few minutes. So we're both with Expandit, which is a Microsoft independent software vendor and gold partner. And we build software for mobile sales and mobile field service companies. Additionally, our products have a standard integration with Microsoft Dynamics products, such as Business Central, NAV, and GP. And we work closely with your ERP partner, Endeavour, to ensure seamless connectivity with your ERP system. So today we're going to talk about how to improve your business with a mobile field service solution. So the outline of today's webinar is as follows. We did the introduction. After that, I'm going to hand it over to Luke, who's going to go through a quick product demo. So to start, let's go through a typical end customer story in the service industry. Meet Jenna, a small business owner. She owns a small flower shop, and recently she got her old air conditioner replaced with a new one. A few months later, the new air conditioner stopped working, so Jenna needed to get it repaired. So Jenna needs to take the following steps in order to get her air conditioning system fixed. First, she has to call the manufacturing company that made and installed her air conditioning system. She calls the organization, they redirect her to a customer service center. And then after finally speaking with the right front office staff member, the staff member sets a time and date for when a technician will arrive, which is about a week later. So for Jenna, getting her air conditioner fixed is her top priority. Since she owns a flower shop, it's crucial for flowers to be at the right temperature so she can deliver her customers the freshest flowers. So now Jenna closes down the shop for a few hours when the technician is set to arrive. She was supposed to deliver a customer order and had to leave, and finally the technician arrives hours late. When the technician arrived, he didn't have the right equipment needed to fix the air conditioner, so he had to inspect and then schedule another visit. However, the technician doesn't have the authority to schedule another visit, so Jenna had to call the service department again to schedule a follow-up visit. Fast forward a few months later, and it's time to do taxes. Jenna has misplaced her invoice, and she needs the invoice to complete her taxes. This is a busy season for Jenna, but now she has to go through the process of calling the customer service rep once again so they can send her the invoice with the details of the installation and repair. So, as you can see from our typical end customer story, the customer experiences a lot of pain points. The pain points that we're faced are the following. First, waiting on the phone to speak with the correct person at the service organization. Then through the whole process, she went through the hassle of being redirected to the correct person. She then waited for the technician to arrive at the job site. Then she had to schedule and wait for additional service visits. So she wasted a lot of time. She wasn't able to communicate with the technician if a situation came up unexpectedly. And she then had to call the front office to get an invoice or to get information about her past orders. And finally, she wasn't even able to view the status of her job. Companies also face similar pain points. For companies, there's a lot of difficulties in meeting customer expectations regarding setting an appointment time. Service technicians often don't have the right parts to complete a service call, so that requires additional trips. Service techs often don't have the right skills to complete the service call, and they need to reschedule additional technicians or additional trips. Technicians often have no visibility to inventory across the enterprise, which creates unnecessary purchases and expenses. Then planners and dispatchers have a lack of visibility on where their technicians are, so planning their next job is pretty difficult with limited information. So how could a mobile field service solution solve these customer challenges? Let's take a look at that in more detail. So a field service solution improves customer satisfaction in three main ways: by improving planning, enhancing communications, and enabling self-service. So let's look at these points in a bit more detail. The first way a mobile field service solution can help your business is by improved planning. Service organizations are constantly looking for ways to improve the scheduling of service jobs. In order to do this, they need improved planning for their technicians and equipment. A mobile field service solution enables organizations to dispatch the right technician with the right abilities and the right equipment. This is crucial in improving first-time fix rates. Improved planning for technicians and equipment accelerates the process of service jobs, which increases productive time, ultimately improving customer satisfaction. For example, dispatchers and planners have a complete overview of where all their field resources are. Additionally, they can check the status of scheduled work orders, which allows them to easily schedule work from a user-friendly interface. This allows them also to give customers real-time feedback. Another way a field service solution can improve customer satisfaction is by enhancing communications. Outdated systems are a nightmare for any organization and create a host of communications issues and inefficiencies. Integrating the front office and back office systems is critical for service organizations. A mobile field service solution enables both employees and customers to easily access information. For example, from our customer story, Jenna would be able to contact the front office directly to schedule another visit, or the technician would be able to schedule another visit as well upon approval. This boosts productive time, improves customer satisfaction, and enables service teams to operate more efficiently. Lastly, another way to improve customer satisfaction is by adopting self-service tools, such as a self-service portal. Streamlining service operations improves organizational efficiency. Having to request a service job or accessing past invoices of an installation is a hassle and is time-consuming. One way to streamline operations is by providing self-service options. These include a self-service portal, which enables users to directly request service jobs, see the status of a job, view past invoices, pay invoices online, and view past service orders and reports. Self-service portals not only streamline service operations, but also significantly improve customer satisfaction. For example, end customers can request and view the status of a service call and communicate with the service organization 24/7. When reports are ready, customers no longer have to worry about not being able to read a technician's handwriting, since all the reports are done digitally. So now that we've gone through the pain points customers face and how a field service solution can address those customer pain points, we'll share one of our own customer stories. We'll discuss the pain points they faced as well as how a solution helped them to improve customer satisfaction. So our customer story is as follows. The organization is a small-sized water filtration company in Canada, and they realized their customers were experiencing some pain points in their customer journey. Some of the pain points were customers were not receiving invoices for a long period of time. There were complaints about outdated technology. Customers were unable to read reports provided by technicians, and there was poor communication. So we'll go into detail on two of the biggest pain points here. So one of the biggest pains were that customers would complain about being invoiced months after the service visit was completed. Customers would wait a few months to receive their invoices, but at this point, since so much time had passed, the customer had forgotten what the invoice was for. Customers would then call in to the filtration company to complain about the invoice since they didn't know what it was for. The filtration company would then have to remind them of the service visit that was done months ago. Another concern was the outdated technology. When technicians would do a service call, they would give a full report of what was done. And often what happened was that customers were unable to read the handwriting on this report, so customers wouldn't even know what work was completed. After the company implemented a field service solution, they were able to improve their customer service and customer experience journey. They were able to receive real-time feedback from customers. For example, if a customer needed to request another service call, they would simply request a service call through the online portal, eliminating any scheduling issues. Using a field service solution also helped to improve reporting, because customers no longer had the frustration of not being able to read reports since the forms and reports were all electronic. In case that the customer had to review forms or reports later, they had access to all of their information 24/7 on the online service portal. They no longer had to rely on the customer service rep to answer all of their questions or concerns. The filtration company now had the ability to send the invoice to customers much faster. The invoice included pictures and all the reports that were required, so customers knew exactly what had been done on that particular service call. Information shared from the filtration company was also a lot more accurate. For example, dispatchers from the company could tell customers exactly when the technician would arrive. Prior to the technician going to the service call, they had all the information they needed. This meant that first-time fix rates were improved and the process of a service call was shortened. Additionally, if there was any information that the customer wanted to give the planner or technician, they could now easily communicate with them via the messenger tool on their service portal. So to conclude, all of these amazing benefits from using a field service solution all led to improved customer satisfaction. So as you can see, using a mobile field service solution provides a seamless customer journey. Typically, without using a field service solution, customers have to call the service organization to request a service call. Then they must wait for the technician to be scheduled out for that service job. After the job is completed, which may take a few separate visits, the customer will then get invoiced after a certain amount of time. But now, with a field service solution, customers have the ability to request service directly, and front office staff will then plan and allocate resources. The technician executes the job right the first time, and the customer is invoiced directly after. Of course, if the customer has any other questions or concerns, they can access the service portal, which allows them to directly communicate with the front office. This means that there is a strong connection between the customers and the company, saving time and reducing errors. So now let's take a look at the Expandit mobile field service solution. And I'm going to hand it over to Luke.
Thanks, Gary. So hello everyone, my name is Luke and I will be giving you a quick high-level overview of the field service solution from Expandit. So what I'm showing you now is our planning and dispatch board. So this is where if you had planners in the office that need to schedule any field resources to go out into the field to do something, whether it's an install, break fix type work, etc. So what you see here on the left-hand side, you see a list of departments and resources coming from the ERP. So you might have multiple departments, multiple locations, etc. So here I have a department for Canada, USA. Then I have my resources under that department, and I have another department called my vehicles or trucks, which lists a number of vehicles under that specific department. Towards the center, you see today's date. So here's Wednesday, and you see a few jobs scattered around. So these are scheduled. This is scheduled work that has already been assigned to a resource. So if you look at the top, you see a color bar or status bar. This indicates the status of that job or service order. Okay, so this is just visually for the planner. They can just look at the planning board and see, well, what is the status of this scheduled work. Regarding scheduling, you could create, let's say, the service order inside of Business Central and just use Expandit for planning and scheduling. Or you could literally create the order right from the Expandit planning board. So here's one way. I could right-click. I will get a pop-up here, and it's going to ask me a couple of questions. For example, who's the customer that needs service today or an installation today? So we'll type in the Canon Group, for example. That's the customer that called in that needs service. Now I can see a list of jobs linked to the Canon Group or a list of service items that are linked to the Canon Group. So all these service items are linked to the Canon Group, and if they told me that they needed service on a specific service item, I could select that. And then from here, this is where I would add any additional information that's going to be helpful out in the field for that field worker. So I can modify the work description. Here I can see the customer address, the work address, invoice address. I can see the number of task lines that need to be completed. So what are the tasks that need to be completed in the field for that field resource? Okay, so we just have one, which is to work on that one specific computer. but I can add, let's say, multiple tasks or multiple service items that need to be completed out in the field. So as a planner, of course, I can write comments that will show up on the mobile client, as well as any attachments. So attachments could be, documentation, maybe it's a picture or a blueprint that's going to be helpful out in the field for that field resource. So I went ahead, added some additional information, and then you will see it pop up on the planning board for Luke to be completed for this afternoon. So that's how easy it is to send out to create a service request or installation request for your field resource to go out in the field and complete that work. We also have a graphical map view as well. So a lot of our customers will have two monitors, one for the planning board, the other for the map, because they do interact with each other. So I can visually see where my resources are on a map. So I can click on a resource, you can see them highlighted on the planning board as well. So who that resource is, what is their status, what jobs are nearby, what users are nearby, and I can actually route this user to a job from here. Then similar to clicking on a on an actual a resource, I can click on a job and see the status of the job, who's the customer, what users are nearby, etc. So it's very helpful to have both of these screens up at the same time. Right now I'm just showing you everything on one monitor because we're doing a presentation, but like I said before, a lot of our customers will have two monitors when they're doing scheduling and dispatching. So we created that service order. Let's go pretend like we're a field resource on the field, and I'm going to show you how our solution looks like on a mobile client. So I'll make that full screen. So our solution works offline on any device, whether it's iOS, Android, Windows devices, phones, tablets, laptops. It does not matter. We are a browser-based solution, so it will look like a native application that you use every day, but it's actually right in the browser. So really user-friendly. So I'm now logged in as a field resource. The first thing I see is my calendar. So for the week, so here's that job that has been assigned to me. So let's open it up. And now I can see some more information on it. So I can see who the customer is, when am I supposed to start. Here's the address. I can click this icon and open up my maps and tell me how to get there. Here's the customer information. Here's the task I need to complete. Here's some messages that came back from when we were a planner. We wrote hello. And then from here, I can log my traveling time, because you might charge, you might bill for traveling time. So you can record that traveling time, or if you get there quickly, you can just hit start work if you're just recording a time against an actual job or service order. So I hit start work, which means we're now on site. We have some work to do, so let's see what I need to complete. So the next thing are my tasks. So here are a list of tasks or service items that I need to complete out in the field. I can indicate which task I'm working on and give a status to it. I can also view historical information on this specific service item. So who was here last from our company, what parts did they use, did they write any comments, did they leave any reports, linked to that specific service items. So very helpful for that field resource when they're out in the field to see who was here last and what did they complete against a specific service item. So not only can you work on service items that have been assigned to you or tasks that have been assigned to you by the planner, you can also create your own tasks or service items when you're out in the field, because things happen and you might need to create a task because another computer broke down, for example, at a customer site, and you can quickly create a task for yourself and attach it to this pre-existing work order. The next thing we have are consumables or materials that you're going to be using out in the field. So we integrate into the inventory location inside of Microsoft Dynamics, so I can view all the inventory locations that you would have set up. For example, it could be a company truck or a warehouse that you have. So we'll use the blue warehouse, for example, and now I can type in either a product name, product number, product description of the part that I'm going to use, or the parts that I'm going to use. So we'll use 3 pieces of part number 80219, and then if I go to my consume lines, I can see part number 80219 came from the blue warehouse, and I used 3 pieces. So that's how easy it is to register consumables or materials while you're out in the field. So you can register as many lines as you'd like, and they would be displayed here. The next thing I want to talk about are reports. So this is really important, especially if you have a lot of paper forms that need to be completed in the field. So a report could be maybe a health and safety form, an inspection form. Maybe you need a customer sort of sign off, for example. So if you're using pen and paper today, you already know the problems that you're experiencing. You know, technicians forget to fill them out, they lose them, can't read their writing, and that causes major headache. So we have our own simple tool that allows you to create these reports yourself. So take those paper forms, make them digital. That way there's no forgetting of capturing any data. And it's all available. You can send it to the customer, you can have it on file, and have access to it 24/7. So here's an example of a report that I created myself. So I just want to show you the sort of the capabilities of the report. So you can ask yes and no questions. You can write comments, attachments, pictures to this specific report. Maybe you need a customer sign off or a sign off from the technician. And what's great is that you can make these fields or this report mandatory. So if this was a mandatory health inspection report, health and safety form, the system would force the user to sign off or complete the form in order to close out the job. So that way there's no forgetting that for example, I forgot to close out or I forgot to complete the health and safety form. Well, there's no excuse for that because you cannot close out the job unless you complete this form. So these are the type of rules that you can put in place that are very helpful. And this is my example of a mandatory form. So you can see work summary. There's a little star there, which means it is mandatory. So I have to quickly come here, maybe get a sign off from the customer, work summary form, for example, and that's completed now. Last thing are attachments. So when we were the planner, I attached this blueprint, which is really helpful for me. But of course, I can attach files or images, pictures of my own when out in the field. So if I was using an actual tablet, it would ask me to either open up my live camera or my gallery. I can snap a picture, attach it. That way it's linked to the specific work order. So if I go back to the beginning, now I can hit finish because let's say we completed our work. And now I get a summary of everything that I've completed in the field. So all the tasks that I worked on, the time that I registered, the materials that I consumed, okay, the reports I completed, the attachments, etc. So if I didn't complete that mandatory report, for example, it would notify me and I would not be able to hit finalize. So, but we completed everything successfully. I'll hit finalize and this will close out the job as completed. And what's going to happen here is that this data will then flow through the Business Central, and Business Central will now handle the invoicing. So there's no manual data entry of having to manually enter in this data back to Business Central. This seamlessly flows back through, and then you can invoice your customer as soon as the job is done. So I'll hand things back over to Gary, and we'll jump back into the presentation.
Great, thank you, Luke. So that was just a brief overview of the solution. As you already know, Microsoft's ERP systems are already very powerful. So when they're integrated with a mobile field service solution from Expandit, service organizations can optimize their business operations and improve customer satisfaction. So just as a recap, let's review the top 3 ways a mobile field service solution improves your business. Number 1, it improves planning. Number 2, it enhances communication. And number 3, it enables self-service. So now I'm going to hand things back over to Scott.
Thanks so much, Gary. That was a fantastic overview. Definitely appreciate it. For those that are new to Endeavour, we've been around for 30 years now as a Microsoft Dynamics partner, implementing, supporting, advising, and optimizing Dynamics GP, Dynamics NAV, and Dynamics Business Central, as well as the CRM products and cloud products from Microsoft. We have offices across Canada, including Toronto, Halifax, Montreal, Edmonton, and Ottawa. 600 clients now coast to coast across Canada and the U.S. and parts of Europe and South America. So moving on to next steps, for those that are interested in moving ahead and evaluating field service options, best to reach out to Trish, James, or Steve on our team, and happy to connect you with our consultants and understand more about your current processes and your desire to be bigger, better, and faster in your organization, helping you optimize your processes, improve your customer experience, and ultimately leverage the technologies and processes in place to be able to service your customers. So with that, thank you very much for joining us today. Have a wonderful day, and we look forward to seeing you next time.